Welcome to Behind the Muscle podcast. Today's guest is a newly crowned IFBB Pro. Today's guest is Bart Tompkins. Bart, welcome back to the podcast, man.
Thank you for having me back on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Brought you on. I don't know how many weeks out from nationals, but you came on. We kind of learned, your a little bit of your life story and how you got into bodybuilding. You competed at nationals. You got your pro card. So it's always fun for me to bring you guys back on post show, especially when you get the pro card. We're gonna kind of just we're gonna chop it up and discuss that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So why don't you tell us, Bart, how many weeks out did you and your coach Cam Cheek start in terms of prep, and then overall, how did this prep go for you guys?
So me and Cam started in April. I've been in prep since January 1 of this year because I was originally prepping for USA's with my old coach, Josh Chisholm. And then April, I made the switch to Cam, and he pulled me back, said, no, we got to get some metabolism fixed right and everything and get you in a better spot to start a prep. So pretty much it's been prep all year long. Me and Cam started in April. We did basically a recomp phase, got my food worked up, things like that, got my cardio down, got my body in a good spot to start a prep. And then I think it was it was 20 weeks out when we started like officially dieting for prep.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
are you good? No, you go ahead.
Okay. All right. So you started 20 weeks out, kind of like officially, prep for nationals. Now, talk to us a little bit about, you said you started prep in January with another coach, and then you connected
Yep.
with Cam. Talk about kind of what this recomp phase was, and what did Cam tell you from the get go when you reached out to him, hired him as a coach? In terms of maybe not doing USAs and pulling back a little bit. Walk us through that. What did that look like with Cam?
Yeah, so pretty much what it was is in January, I didn't have the best offseason last year. It was more or less my fault. I allowed myself to get a little bit too high in body fat, which just made it really hard to obviously start a prep when you do that. Your metabolism's not in a good spot, things like that. So when I came to Cam, I was already down from 225 to like 203, I think. And then he was like, once he saw the pictures, he saw the blood work, everything. He was like, all right, well, we need to pull back. There's no sense in keep pushing. Let's just do a later show. And so pretty much the recomp phase, what he did is first he started increasing food, pulling my cardio down, getting my body to basically a maintenance phase, and then we started keep going up without trying to gain body fat. So we ended up about halfway through the recomp phase, I actually dropped weight, lost weight, and lost inches off my waist and stuff. And we ended up before prep. He got me from 2,400 calories to like 4,000, and I was doing like maybe 4 days of cardio, 15 minutes, if that. So we got my body to a really good spot with food and stuff, and it was grooving, rolling. Strength was high as ever. We of course had a health phase, basically off of all the PEDs and stuff except for TRT. Pretty much that was what we ran the whole time. We had maybe 6 weeks where we were on PEDs at the beginning. Other than that, it was 10 weeks of just TRT and then like just bringing the food up and getting things rolling and getting body in a good spot to start a prep.
Excellent. Okay, now, so you initially were thinking about USA's. Now, did Cam, when you connected with Cam, did he tell you no go with USA's, or was it just kind of
Yeah.
playing it by ear?
Yeah, pretty much he said it's a no go because obviously the body wasn't in a good spot. I'd also already been in prep for 4 months and I still had a good bit of body fat to get off. I mean, it was it wasn't I should have known it wasn't realistic for me to do USA's after me having such a brutal offseason, not taking full advantage of the offseason. And it was just basically I'd already been in prep, so I was already on PEDs for like 12 weeks. So if we ran to USA's, it would have been a pretty long time. And of course, Cam, he's always super health conscious. He's like, first thing, he's like, no, there's no way I'm doing that. And which that gave me a lot of respect for him right off the bat, because obviously that's a big thing. Like, I don't want to risk my health for this. You're going to come out with battle scars regardless in bodybuilding. You got to come out with as little as possible. So pretty much that's what he did. And when he said that at first, like I was a little disappointed because I was so set on doing USAs. But in the end, obviously, it ended up being the best thing for me that I could have done. I mean,
Right. Right.
basically, I had to give him the reins and trust him 110% from the get go.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Now, so you guys kind of officially started prep for nationals at 20 weeks, or I can't remember. Did you do a competition before nationals?
Yeah, so literally it was like 2 days before Night of Champions, which is up here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I texted Cam, I was like, what do you think about me getting on stage, just getting some like real posing practice? And like I wanted to prove to myself that I could hold poses and outpose anybody at 6 weeks out, because I had been posing with Josiah Grass Fed Fitness for since like 14 weeks out. So I'd been getting my butt kicked posing for a while now, and I wanted to like get up there and prove it. And so we did no peak, no water manipulation, no carb up, nothing. We literally just slapped a tan on like it was another day. And I walked on stage, and I walked on stage as light heavy. So, and I did welters at nationals. So I was 180 pounds on stage at Night of Champions. It was 6 weeks out when I did it it was 6 weeks out from nationals when I did that show. And I ended up winning light heavies, the class, and then I missed the overall by like half a point. So that was a pretty crazy experience, because it's like, okay, I'm 6 weeks out. I'm like nowhere near what I'm going to be at nationals, and I miss overall by half a point to a heavyweight. So it was a pretty surreal experience. It was a good little boost going in, and I outposed everybody. I mean, I've got a video where it was posing like I didn't break a pose, and they posed us in the overall for 7 minutes straight. So it was pretty cool to know that I proved myself that I could do what I could do. And now it's time to go to nationals and bring in the best physique. And then I've already got the posing down.
Yeah. Okay. Now, the question I have for you, Bart. Now, when you did this competition 6 weeks out, it sounds like you said, you guys, you kind of just like, it was just another day, you just threw on the
Yeah.
tan and you did your thing. Now, in terms of nutrition manipulation to get ready for that competition, were you just kind of eating what you were
I was eating
eating on
exact.
plan, and talk to us about that?
Yeah, I was literally eating exactly what I would eat a normal day. We did not do a thing for that show. We literally just put the tan on and walked on stage. The only thing I didn't do is I didn't do cardio that day or the day before. We kind of gave my legs a little break, but there was no more food than normal. It was still my low day diet. I didn't train. We gave the body a rest day on that show day. I did train the day before, but I still did no cardio, give the legs a break to be fresh. That's the cool part, is the fact that we did nothing at all and just walked on stage and missed overall by half a point.
That is kind of cool, man. I love that. So, pick us up then, or take us from 6 weeks out when you did that competition and lead us into peak week for nationals.
So man, after 6 weeks out, honestly, we had that's where Cam had to start doing some manipulation of my body, because it was fighting us to get down a little bit lower. I was at about 179 pounds 6 weeks out, and so he had to do some trial and error, get my body going. He ended up getting it going, doing a diet break, refeeding, cutting cardio a little bit, things like that. But man, 4 weeks out is where it got brutal on me mentally. Because obviously we all know 165 pounds was a long way to go. I started prep 20 weeks out at 208. I was probably roughly 12-14% body fat when I started prep. Not a bad spot. It was a good spot to start, but 208 to 165 was, man, it was 4 weeks out. That's when we started digging. That's when 3 weeks out and 2 weeks out is when it was like, okay, this hurts. It hurt for me to walk. I couldn't walk my dog. My girlfriend is a trooper. She literally, because I mean, by 4 weeks out, I had no emotions, no feelings. Estrogen was gone. It was just all like, just get through the day. And it was basically a day by day process at that point, because my cardio still never got too high. I was doing max like 40 minutes 5 days a week. My food never got really too low. I mean, it was low for my body because it hurt, but I mean, we never went below like 2,100 calories, 1,900 maybe. Um, and then like leading into 2 weeks out, like in between a peak week and 2 weeks out, it was that was the final push, and it was like, okay, we got down, I think, to 171, and peak week started. We we still kept carbs in. Like I was still eating 185 grams of carbs a day. My cardio got pulled out. I think Cam pulled the cardio out Tuesday before peak week, and I ended up we were supposed to fly to Orlando, me and my girlfriend, but the airport, they didn't tell us how much it was going to be to take our dog on the plane. Last minute, they didn't tell us that we couldn't take like a little carry-on bag with them. We had to take like an actual crate. So we ended up like last minute driving to Orlando, and it was about 11 hours with stops and stuff. So Tuesday is when we found that out. We were supposed to fly Wednesday morning, so Tuesday about 1 o'clock during the day, we found that out. We ended up driving all the way up there. I stopped midway, worked out in Atlanta, and then drove the rest of the way. We didn't get to Orlando probably to about 4 in the morning Wednesday. So, and then once I got there, of course, got some rest, got up. Cam got to look at me for the first time ever in person, because that was the first time me and him had ever met, which that was a surreal experience. Him and Shelby have been a blessing. And so we get there, start dialing things in. Thursday comes, we have to make weight. I woke up, I was 169 point something. So we didn't use any diuretics this prep, really. No, not at all, really. And then so we woke up 169 point something. Cam was like, all right, well, let's wait till 11, see where the weight goes just by not drinking water, not eating. So we get to 11. I think I was down a pound, like 168 point something. So then that's when it was time to go get in the sauna. And that was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. Cam gave me full on directions of how to do it properly. Because obviously when you have no water, no food in you, and you're trying to sweat out another 3-4 pounds, it's not a fun time and it's not easy. I was in there in a hoodie, sweatpants, long socks over my sweatpants, hood on, sauna wrap, everything. So we ended up I did like 2 rounds of 20 minutes in the sauna, and we ended up getting down low enough. I think I weighed in at 163.8. And then of course the fun started. We started carving up, things like that. I mean, so by the morning show, Cam had me up to 175 pounds. So I didn't lose an ounce of conditioning either. I mean, he was a wizard with that. I mean, I don't know how he did it to this day still. He's the man with that, man. His peaking strategies are like to a T, like meticulously so detailed. So yeah, I mean, it was a process, man. The mental battle 4 weeks out is probably, that last 4 weeks was probably the hardest thing.
Now, remind me, because I have so many conversations, I can't remember
I know
everything in terms of what we talked about last time. But was this your first pro qualifying national level competition?
No, I did USA's last year as a middleweight. I was third callouts, so I think I was like 11th or 12th out of like 20 guys. That was my first one.
Okay.
And it went well. I mean, but to go from third callouts a year ago to a pro card, that's one of the things I'm just like crazy to think that even happened.
Yeah. And we'll get there in a minute. But before we do, Bart, what was your, and I want you to be honest and truthful, which I know you will be, but what was your ultimate goal, going into nationals? Like, you would have been happy if what, and only if what?
Honestly, I would have been happy with top 5, but that's based off of like, being where I was at last year. Like, but in my head going in, I knew that if we made weight in welters, like I knew I wasn't going to be outside the top 5, but I had a very strong feeling that I was going to get a pro card because it was top 2 in the class. So, I mean, the honest, like obviously the basic one is the top 5, but man, I had from 4 weeks out, I had a feeling that I was going to get the pro card when the look just started coming together.
Cool. Awesome. Okay. Now, what about, did you pay attention to anybody else, or did you know of anybody else that was competing in your weight class for nationals? Did you kind of take a look at them on Instagram, or did you not know, or did you not even really care?
To be honest with you, that was going in, there was no other welterweights on any of the pages, because like I was the only welterweight on Bodybuilders Without Borders. I think Sulos had reposted me one time. I never saw any welterweights going in. I was the only one that was seen that I know of. And that's one of the reasons I kind of like had a feeling it's going to get it. Like if I'm the only one getting reposted on some of these pages that, pay attention to a lot of the national competition, I was like, well, who else is going to be there? Like, but I was also in my head, I was like, I hope that I'm not the only guy in the class, because I don't want to win a pro card like that. I wanted everybody to be at their best and it play out like that.
Yeah. So how many guys were there actually in the welterweight division?
I want to say there was only like 11 or 12, which was crazy because like lightweight and bantamweight, they had like, I think 20 apiece, and then middles had like 30, 40, and I think light heavies even maybe had 30 or 40.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now you ended up getting second place. You got
Yep.
your pro card. Who's the gentleman that got first place?
To be honest with you, I don't know him. I didn't get to really say anything to him. By the time we got off stage, we got spread out so much. I wanted to, but I think I've been trying to find him on Instagram, so that way, I can at least follow him, keep up with him. But I didn't know him at all. I knew I think Chris Tuttle's guy who was in the light green trunks. He was either third or fourth. I had seen him before, but he looked great and he did good. I mean, I didn't really know any of the guys in the class, to be honest. The only one I knew going like at nationals was Walter, and that's because me and him are from the same gym.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about prejudging. So from what I was told, all the ladies went on Friday, all the
Yep.
dudes went on Saturday, which I think from everything that I've heard from you athletes, that went really smooth and really
Oh
well
yeah.
compared to the previous year. So
Yeah.
talk about prejudging. Did they have you in the middle at all? Were you rotating
Um,
out? Like, walk us through prejudging.
so from prejudging, they literally, once I got out there in the first call outs, they didn't move me. They did not move me once. We didn't even I did personally, I did not even know I was in the middle. I was so focused and locked in on out posing everybody that I didn't even know I was in the middle. I just knew that I was not breaking a pose and I was going to smoke everybody on pose. That was like my only goal going in, was just that one thing, because I know that's the one thing that I can control. So yeah, I didn't even know I was in the middle, but when I got off stage, we pretty much knew I had it because it was top two and I was dead center in the middle. We knew I was either first or second, so we knew I had what we came for. We just didn't know if I was first or second until finals.
Okay. All right. So, what did Cam tell you? What were your guys' conversations after you got off the stage after prejudging, Bart?
Man, to be honest with you, coming off stage at prejudging was pretty surreal. That's when I got a little emotional because it was like I had Cam right there. I had Josiah. I had Dom Kuza came and like talked to me. I had a lot of the top coaches up there that are friends with Cam, Justin Mahaley, all of them be like, "You just dominated that stage, like just dominated." They're like, "Welcome to the league," because they knew that I had first or second. I mean, it was that when they all said that, and I had all those kind words come from them. I mean, because they're top guys in our industry coming up, and it was like that's when like the emotion set in. It was like, okay, I really just did this, and it's a 5-year goal that I've been going for so long.
Yeah. Awesome, man. So, what did you do? Did you go back to your room and just kind of hang out, chill, scroll on Instagram, eat some food? What did you do before finals? And then walk us through finals, please, Bart.
So, funny thing is, believe it or not, I didn't eat. Well, I did eat before prejudging, but I didn't eat until like 15, 30 minutes before prejudging. I had a Rice Krispie treat. That was about it. Because Cam had me so filled out like perfectly that we didn't even have to eat. We just got to sit and chill the morning before. So after prejudging, I still didn't eat for another 2 hours. I was still filled out and not flattening out. I stayed around and watched some of the classic guys. But then when I found out there were like so many competitors, I was like, okay, well, let's go back to the hotel and I'll eat a meal and then we'll come back and watch men's physique, because Cam had a men's physique guy in there. And I had a friend, Brandon, who was competing, that my old coach, Josh, was coaching. So I wanted to support them and give them some hype. But yeah, I mean, pretty much after that, like I chilled in the hotel, didn't really do much. Couldn't sleep. I was pretty high on adrenaline. And so it was, then we I had about 3 meals between prejudging and finals. My body started flattening out a little bit. So we kept keeping it full. Get to finals, of course. I don't think we got there. I didn't get there super early because, bodybuilding went last instead of first. But I did have to get my tan touched up, so I got there a little bit earlier. I sat and hung around, I got to watch all the classic physique awards. There was a guy, I can't remember his name. He's from Mississippi, from where I'm from. he finally turned pro, and he's been going at it for a while. So it was pretty cool to get to watch a bunch of those guys and see the posing and the level of competition at national level and classic. Because classic, it's growing. It is a big deal. And then seeing the men's physique guy turn pro with he has the one shorter leg, whatever he had that thing with him. But seeing him turn pro, man, that was like, because I saw him at pre-judge and I was like, man, that is dedication. So that was a really cool moment at finals, getting to see that guy turn pro and get his pro card. But other than that, man, we just sat around and waited and posed and rested. And once finals got there, it was time to go out there and do the posing routine, which it was pretty quick. I mean, because that's like at prejudging, they didn't even pose. Once they moved me in the middle, they posed us for 45 seconds and first call-outs was done. Like they knew where we were placed. I think we were the shortest class posed.
Wow.
Walter and them got worked really hard. So, but yeah, I mean, once I got done with the finals routine, posing, did the awards, standing in line, waiting. Once they called third place, I knew I was second. That was a huge like weight off my shoulder because like I know everybody, like I know the picture showed I was in like gonna get the card, but I mean until it's called, it's not 100% real.
Right, right.
So, but I mean, once that got called, it was a relief. Like I wasn't upset I didn't get first or anything. Like it is what it is. I wasn't the best man in that class that day. I got what I came for, so that's good enough for me. But yeah, man, it was crazy.
Okay. Now, what were I know I know in the moment when you win a competition, I won an overall last year, and like you said, like you're just so caught up like in the moment. There's so much going on. It's hard to process in the moment. So I understand that, right? And you've got there's all kinds of thoughts and things, but I guess if you did have a quick moment just to kind of like get inside of your brain, what were some of those thoughts that were kind of like flooding your mind once you knew that you were an IFBB pro?
Man, to be honest with you, I got the card. I walked off stage. I made sure to look up, thank God for everything, because I mean, wouldn't have been possible without that. I walked off stage. Cam and Josiah are backstage again right there. And, we grab my stuff, go out there. And as soon as I walk out and my girlfriend comes running up to me, that's when it kind of like hits me like me and her did it, because she's been by my side prepping for a whole year. And I mean, everyone that is in bodybuilding knows how much a significant other goes through when somebody preps for that long and to this level. And like, especially with me having to make as hard of a weight cut as I did, because that going through that alone, that's like, so I mean, having her run up to me and like, just knowing that she's right there and we did it. And then that was the moment I was like, okay, I did it. Like it's done. Now it's time to go, put on a lot of muscle for 212. But I mean, also I had like a lot of people there. I had one of my other best friends, Taylor, there. She drove 11 hours to come watch me. I had my old coach there, which that was a big thing, to have him there, because he's played a big part. I wouldn't be where I'm at without him, because he coached me for 4 years. Him and his wife, Anna Chisholm, would not be here without them. Having Brandon, my best friend that he coached, and men's physique there, and Brandon's wife Harley, like they both stayed and watched me. I mean, because you got to think men's physique was first. They all sat around and waited and watched me, so that meant a lot. Having Cam, Shelby there, because Cam and Shelby, they're very close to me now. They're like just like family. Man, it was just surreal. And then like I look down at my phone, I'm like, okay, I don't even want to touch my phone for the next 3 hours because it was so blown up.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it was pretty much whenever when my girlfriend Taylor ran and jumped in my arms, that's when it kind of hit me.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Now, in terms of, you said that like some of the like Dom and some other, high level coaches, they kind of, gave you some positive feedback after prejudging. But once you got your pro card and you, got congratulations from your family and significant other and things like that. And once you kind of picked up your phone, were there some people reaching out to you that kind of surprised you or kind of caught you off guard? Like any big IFBB pros? Like talk about that for a quick minute.
I mean, I really didn't have any like big IFBB pros, but like just having Dom, Kuza, and all of them like around, because like we went and ate dinner with Cam, Dom, and Jacoby, Matt Jansen's guy that's with Camp Jansen coach. So we
Yes.
went and ate dinner with them and stuff. I mean, so it was having all them around. Justin Mahaley, Shane Hughley had some kind words to say about me. Kenny Wallach did. So I mean, they were pretty much all at the show, the higher up people that had things to say, and so I mean, having all of them have some high words to say about me and things like that, it was a big deal. And then also like obviously like Matt Jansen's had some high things to say about me as Cam sent him pictures and stuff and things like that. So I've had a lot of, which all of them have pretty much been talking to me throughout the prep. Like Justin Mahaley's one that he's been very supportive, and he'll always just talk to me and have a conversation. So things like that, I mean, they mean a lot to young people coming up. That's for sure.
Absolutely, man. I love that. Did you gain a few followers on Instagram?
Yeah, I would say so. I got I'm telling you, I got off finals and my Instagram was at like 100 and something DMs and my text messages were at like 100 and something. So
Nice.
yeah, I had a lot of people reach out and it meant a lot. I mean, because to have that many people acknowledge, what I've accomplished, it's a big deal.
Yeah. Cool, man. Love it. Okay. Now, let's talk a little bit. I'll have some fun questions here in a minute, but let's talk about the future. So,
Yep.
you're 24 years old, very, 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 very young, especially, in terms of, I mean, your age, but in
Yeah.
terms of like bodybuilding age, you're
Yeah.
very young, as well. So what are your initial thoughts in terms of, a pro debut? What do you have to do before you would step on an IFBB Pro stage? Walk us through that plan if you kind of have one tentatively right now.
Right now, I mean, so 212 is where I'll be at as a pro. Obviously, I weighed in at 163.8. By the time I was on stage, I was 175. So basically, say I was 175 pounds this to go around on stage. I need to fill out 212 weight cap. I mean, there's been 212 guys that have won pro shows not weighing 212 pounds. Obviously, if you've got good shape, you can make yourself look a lot bigger. And, there's always, if you strategically plan a pro show, you can do some of these smaller ones and get Olympia qualification. So I would say minimum the soonest it'll be on stage is like 2026. I mean, because I'll need at least 3 years of straight growing to even like think to be close to 190 pounds or so. Because obviously you don't want to put the size on fast because that's when health goes down the wrong road and things like that. And pretty much right now, I'm saying to people like 2026 would be the soonest, but it's whenever Cam says we're ready to be competitive because I'm not going to do a pro debut just to do one. When I go into it, it's going to be because I think I can be right there battling to win it or get an Olympia qualification.
Mm. All right. Now, what's Cam got you doing? I'm sure that you guys are, again, going through like a health phase now. Like,
Yeah.
walk us through like what's happened like nutritionally, with supplements and stuff after nationals, and then walk us through kind of like what this, next off season is going to look like.
So pretty much right now, like after the way we had to peak my body, I don't know if many people noticed it on the live stream or anything, but my glutes didn't get completely etched out. And it wasn't because I wasn't lean enough, it's because that muscle has never been filled out from where I was a fat kid. So I had like loose skin there. So we had to keep my water cut really low. I think I had 64 ounces of water from Thursday to Saturday night. But that's what we had to do to keep the loose skin tight and suck to make it look good on stage. Because obviously, if you have loose skin on stage, it's gonna look like fat to the judges. So we made that call to keep that suck dry. So once you deprive your body of something, a nutrient source for so long, just putting water back in post show, I puffed up. Like I didn't even eat, to be honest with you, I had 8 pieces of sushi after the show and a bite of a cookie. And then we went to a steakhouse the next night and I had like a 14-ounce steak and some sides. Literally, that's all I had off plan. And I was on diet during the day just because I knew how bad my body would rebound if I ate because we pulled water. So as soon as I got home, I puffed up after the 11-hour drive for sure, just having water in. So I'm still holding water to this day from still my body's still trying to find balance between the water. So I've been dealing with that and trying to make sure that that gets cleared because obviously if you have extra water weight, your blood pressure gets higher, your resting heart rate runs higher. So we're being very cautious as far as like I'm very much back on the diet, have been. Basically went back to what my baseline cows were before the show 5 weeks out, which was about 2,500. Of course, we pulled all supplements except for TRT. We pretty much obviously are pulling labs immediately to get blood work, see where everything's at, see what needs to be fixed, so we know. And as of right now, it's tentatively it'll be 12 weeks before I start a growth phase. That's if all blood work comes back good at that 12-week mark. Pretty much back taking all the same vitamins I've been taking, all the Revive stuff. Revive's obviously been a key role in keeping me healthy. Luckily, I'm an ambassador with them, so that's always a blessing to have them behind me and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty much straight into a health phase because I did like catch a cold immediately as I got home too. So Wednesday and Thursday after the show, I literally slept 14 hours. My body was just it was in a bad spot after peaking, and like also I think I made it way worse because the day after the show, before I got rehydrated, we went to Disney. I walked 10 miles that day. I was still trying to get rehydrated. Then the next day, we walk another 10 miles, probably shopping in Orlando. So that was probably not the smartest thing. I probably should have immediately rest. So that's why my body's still trying to play catch up and get rest and get back to feeling normal. So pretty much training's been not much at all. I trained for the first time back home last Friday, and I've trained twice, 2 or 3 times since then. So it's been very just easing back into everything, letting the body heal and get back to where it needs to go, because my body was definitely very, very run down, especially after making the weight cut, all that. I mean, because when you do a weight cut with the sauna, things like that, your body takes way more of a hit than you'll ever realize. That more than guys that don't have to make a weight cut. Because when you can just walk on stage and be in shape already, that's a different story. Because I was in shape at 170 pounds, but we just had to make the weight cut. So it's just a matter of just playing it smart, doing the health stuff, getting everything done, getting your blood work done. So important post show. But Cam's always very on top of making sure everything's done right, stay as healthy as possible.
Excellent. Um, what's do you have any thoughts on the 212 Olympia, Bart? Are you paying attention to that a little bit or not really?
Oh yeah, I'm yeah, Olympia in general. Like I'm in every bodybuilding show. Sean Clarito will hands down win it. I have no doubt about that. And then I would say, Kamal is gonna be in their top five. Brian Belzona, the guy with the crazy freaking shredded glutes, I think he'll sneak into that top five pretty easily. He looks pretty crazy. I'm sure Angel will be back in the top five because he just gets nasty condition. But yeah, I mean, 212 is a fun class because it's pretty much you've got Sean and Kamal that are going to be battling for. You assume they'd be battling for 1 and 2 because they both have won Olympias. But open is what's really interesting this year because it could go a lot of different ways. I couldn't even tell you a top five. I want to say I want Brandon Curry to win it, obviously, because he's a home gym owner. I'm at the home gym with him, and I love his physique, always have. But man, it's hard. I could like all these pages doing predictions and stuff. I'm like, I won't even post a prediction because I can't make one.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
Do you what do you think about Derek Lunsford? Do you think he's going to be doing some damage this year in the Open Men's Olympia?
If I had to bet, I would say yes. I would say he could be as high as top five. I would say he for sure is going to be in the top 10 because I mean, when you just look at his shape, he might only be 230, 225 pounds on stage. I don't know what he's going to come in at, but I mean, if he can have his leg size back, because obviously in 212 last year, like his chest was a little flatter because he had to make weight, his legs lose a little bit of fullness. But I mean, if he comes back full because if you saw him at Pittsburgh when he was full and he wasn't that far out of shape. So I mean, I don't know though. I mean, because you've got some taller guys coming in this year, like Andrew Jack, who's a new one. You've got a lot of new guys that are going to have hype behind them, and it's just you don't know where they're going to stand. Like all these pages, they'll make predictions of who's going to go where, but you never know until they get standing next to each other. I would say Samson's one of the. If Samson comes in peeled, I mean, he could hurt everybody's feelings.
Yeah, truth, man. That's facts right there. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't believe we're just a few days out from the Olympia. So let's why don't you talk a little bit about Cam? I know on your Instagram you've done some posts about, just thoughts towards like your coach and your girlfriend
Yeah.
and all your supporters and things like that. But let's just talk about Cam just for another quick minute, because I've had a lot of his athletes on. He's been on the podcast. He's going
Yeah.
to come back on next week. Everybody just speaks so highly of him, and it's all about health, and it's about doing it the right way. So just talk a little bit about what Cam has meant to you, having him in your corner for this process of earning your IFBB Pro card, Bart.
I mean, to be honest with you, I Cam is everything like family wise to me. Like he's definitely my best friend. I mean, dude, he took me from a third call out bodybuilder to a pro card and from April to December. I mean, and I mean, like I told you, I still didn't come to him in the best shape in April. He had to do a lot of fixing with my body and things before I could ever start a prep. So, I mean, the fact he did that, he took me on and he saw the potential in my work ethic from the beginning, and he just like trusted me as far as like that I was actually going to be, a competitive athlete at that rate. Because I'm not going to lie, if you looked at my pictures from when I sent him when I first started, you wouldn't have thought I was going to be worthy of earning a pro card, to be honest with you. It's pretty crazy to think that we did that. I mean, but that was one of the best moments when I walked off stage at prejudging, because he was the first one back there and he hugged me and I hugged him. And it's like, we did it. Like, and we've grown so close throughout this prep. Like, we talk almost every day. And, anyways, I mean, right now he's getting ready for the O, so we don't communicate as much because I want him to focus on JT because that's a big deal for him. That was one of his life goals this year. Um, but I mean, man, we talk all the time. Me and Shelby talk all the time. But Cam has been everything to me. He's taken me to another level mentally in life and in bodybuilding. And he's physically obviously helped me take my body to another level that I didn't even know was possible this year. I mean, to be honest with you, in the beginning, if you'd have told me in April that I was going to turn pro in December, I'd have thought you were crazy. Like, literally would not thought there was a chance in the world. And I don't think it would have been possible without Cam in my corner, because he's done everything. He's kept my health in check. He's kept everything in check and done everything to a T with me. And he's been so supportive. But I think it more or less comes down to the person that I've grown is because of him this year, a lot of it, not just in bodybuilding, just in life. Like, I've had opportunities. My mindsets have changed. I've switched jobs. Like, I mean, now I'm helping like manage Carbon Culture Gym in Murfreesboro. And so like having those opportunities, and now like I'm very focused on pursuing the coaching route. I'm fixing to do some mentorships. And I don't think I would have had the drive to do this as fast as I'm trying to do it if it wasn't for Cam having all the conversations we've had about things, and like him having all the uplifting words about my work ethic and my drive to just want to be the best me and have the best outcome in life. So I love Cam to death. I would not trade him for anything. Like, I will be with him. I can honestly say I will be with him until I'm done with my career. There's no doubt about it.
Cool, man. Okay. Let's you brought up kind of like just not just only transforming your physique this year, Bart, but kind of transforming your mind and just growing as a man. So looking back, I mean, we're at the almost at the end of the year. You're at the end of your prep. You got your pro card. I guess as you kind of look back over this entire year, if you want to pinpoint just the prep or whatever, but what do you feel like are a couple of like the biggest lessons or the biggest things in terms of growth as a human being this year for you?
I think the biggest thing of growth has been the mindset change, like where I have the just constant drive every single day I wake up. It's what can I do to be better? What can I do to, be successful today and get something done that's going to move my life in the right direction? I mean, another big thing is I've been like involved in church growing up, but like being heavily involved in it recently this year has helped a lot. I mean, things like that. I mean, it's just the mental mindset that I have now. It's just like that Groundhog Day work ethic every single day I wake up. Like, from the time I got done with the show, it was like I didn't even think to not do cardio, things like that. Like, all these things in life, I didn't think to not get up, like do something first thing in the morning, get a walk for digestion, like it's just the same routine day in, day out to just do things to be better. And I feel like when you can hold that, you're set up for success no matter what. Because if you're waking up every day trying to do things better, you're gonna obviously keep going and find somewhere out to make things better in life.
Right. Absolutely, man. Okay. Any thoughts for some of the younger listeners? You're 24, so you're young. I'm 35 and I'm really young too. But my point is any thoughts, any words of wisdom, any advice for people that are maybe thinking about competing for the first time? They're just starting out on their bodybuilding journey. They someday want to be an IFBB pro. Like, what are some things that maybe you've learned, Bart, maybe just this year, over the last several years bodybuilding, that you can share with us so that we can glean from you?
The biggest thing that I can say from a bodybuilding standpoint is take your time, hire a coach that knows what they're doing. Like I said, I've had two great coaches now. My first or my second coach, Josh Chisholm, who I was with for 4 years, and then I had Cam now. So I mean, I would say you have to have a coach to guide you down this route, because from a young age, like at 17 years old, you can't know how to coach yourself with. I mean, you shouldn't be touching PEDs anyways at 17, but like that's a big aspect. You got to have a coach who knows how to monitor blood work and things like that, because if they're not monitoring blood work and you're using PEDs, you don't know what's going on with your body. And I think that's a big thing, that because I see a lot of kids that start PEDs at 17, 18. And I think that's something that needs to be realized, because I started bodybuilding at 17 and I waited till I was 21 to start PEDs. And the only reason I waited 4 years is because I knew I needed to have a base, but also I wanted to be able to have a little bit of knowledge behind some of them, learning them to be able to ask the right questions if things go wrong and things like that. I think the other big thing is you've got to, when you start, don't do it. There's a lot of people that I've noticed nowadays, they do it because they want the attention from social media. This sport, if you do it for attention for social media, it'll wreck you, honestly. If you actually get in contest shape and you're not doing it for yourself, mentally, man, getting in contest shape is brutal, like true contest shape. And I can say I never hit true peeled conditioning until this year. And I mean, it was a battle for me. And I've always been mentally very, very strong when it comes to everything. But the kids coming up, they've got to like pay attention to who's doing what, but also don't pay attention to all these people that just put out a bunch of stuff, random stuff. Like you got to look at the guys that are at the top, pay attention to what they're doing, because obviously they're at the top for a reason. Don't look at these kids that are on social media just making videos and things like that. Like it's cool that they do that and like that's them, but like bodybuilding it's a very serious sport. It can hurt your life if you don't do it in the best way possible. Um, and I feel like taking time, man, it's the biggest thing. It's a marathon on a sprint. I feel like that can never be said enough in bodybuilding, because I mean, you see so many kids hit the ground running and they're done in no time. And there's a lot of like, I see more females that go through it than anything, where they'll diet super hard for a show multiple times a year and then their hormones are wrecked and then you never hear of them again. And I mean, because my girlfriend, she's been through that, where the first show she did, her hormones got wrecked and she's yet to be back on stage. And we've spent tons of money fixing her gut health, her hormones and things like that. And I mean, obviously we would do it over and over again to fix everything, but it would never happen if there had been a good coach in the beginning to take care of her health. And obviously like she was so young, she didn't know any better. She just did what she was told. So I feel like health is just the biggest thing that needs to be prioritized in this, and taking your time and learning everything you need to learn and build a foundation.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Um, I think we're gonna end it there, Bart. We covered all the bases, man. I guess you brought up doing some sort of management with carbon culture. Is that new
Yeah.
since we talked last?
Yeah. So I was at CarMax last, and I ended up, I think 4 weeks out, Tracy and James Yates and Brandon Curry and Brandon's wife, both own the Carbon Culture in Murfreesboro. So Tracy gave me the opportunity to come on and pretty much help manage the place, I think 4 weeks out, which I think that's one of the reasons I was able to push that last 4 weeks, because you got to remember at CarMax, I was working from 3 in the afternoon to 12 midnight. Not the ideal sleeping schedule for a bodybuilder. So I go from CarMax doing that to living at a gym pretty much, because I was already there. That's where I trained all the time. So now I'm getting to work and do everything on the back end and all that. And then I get to work out too there. So I think that helped more than anything. That's like Thanksgiving Day. I was up there working all day instead of going out and doing stuff because it's just better for me to be at the gym at that point because I was a week out. But I mean, things like that job change really, I think, helped me finish out that last 4 weeks. And Tracy and James and Brandon and Brandy have been a blessing to me. They've always been supportive, but now they're all like very, very close to me. And like that's like Tracy, like, man, there were times 2 weeks out I would be up at 3 in the morning because I couldn't sleep because of hunger. I would do my cardio and then she would come up there at 5 in the morning and see me in the office just working because I couldn't sleep. And she's like, go home and take a nap. And so there were times like she cared so much and she knew what I was going through. So like she made it a lot easier for me to be able to finish prep versus where if I was at a CarMax, they'd be like, suck it up, keep going. Like you got to do your work. So I mean, but she worked with me. She made time and she took care of the place. Like if I had to go home, take a nap, like she would take care of it for me and then I would come back. Things like that, having people like that in your corner when you're doing things like bodybuilding, man, it makes the world of difference. I mean, it makes the world of difference.
Amen, man. All right, Bart. I think that's good, man. Covered the bases. Again, I just want to say congratulations on getting that
Thank you,
IFBB
man.
Pro card. Thank you
Thank you.
so much for coming back on the podcast, dude, and sharing,
Oh,
a
thank you
little
for
bit
having
of,
me back on, man.
yeah, sharing a little bit of the insights for nationals on your side. So before I do a quick outro and I let you go, any final thoughts, any final words? Give us your Instagram. I'm going to turn it over to you, and then I'll do the outro, man.
My Instagram, I think now is like Bart underscore Tompkins IFBB Pro. I can't remember. I changed it recently. But I mean, I want to give thanks to everybody that's in my corner. I have a lot of really good people, and I think that's been the biggest change this year. I think when you surround yourself with positive people, especially in the sport, and have no negativity, it just sets you up for success. I definitely want to give my girlfriend, obviously, a lot of love because she's put up with a lot. My best friend Taylor, who was basically my unpaid therapist this whole prep, whenever I didn't talk to my girlfriend about things. Thank you to Cam and Shelby for being just as close as they are to me and allowing me in their lives like family because that means more than they'll ever know. Thanks to my previous coach, Josh Chisholm, and his wife, Anna Chisholm. They have been a blessing that they're still around in my life and that they have gotten me to where I've gotten. I mean, I wouldn't be here without them. They're a stepping stone in my life. They're still here to support me, which that's a big thing because, as you know, it's hard for most coaches. Usually when athletes leave, they don't ever come back around and like be friends, but luckily they've stayed around my life. Thanks to my dad, my family, my dad's the reason I'm able to do this, man. He has supported me 110% from the beginning. And I can't imagine supporting, your kid to do all this because he was supportive of the PEDs at first. That's the reason he was the first person I talked to. So, I mean, to have that support, I think that's a big deal. So I'm very thankful for him. But yeah.
Awesome. All right, Bart. I really appreciate you, man. Appreciate your time. Okay.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for having me back on. It means a lot.
Yeah, you're always welcome, man. We'll get you back on at some point. Maybe
Yep.
when you're over 200 pounds deep into
Yeah.
a off season, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh
cool.
yeah. We'll be up 230 pretty quick, hopefully.
All right, man. That'll be fun. All of you who are tuning in to another episode of Behind the Muscle podcast, I just want to say thank you so very much. If you guys have not done so already, please hit that subscribe button in regards to BTM on YouTube. Also, take this episode with Bart, share it on your Instagram stories. Make sure you tag Bart. Go ahead and tag Cameron Cheek, Bart's coach. And then also, please don't forget to tag us, Behind the Muscle Podcast. That's just a great way for people who have not found the podcast yet to find it. They're going to listen, they're going to watch, and they're going to be positively impacted by these athletes and coaches' stories that are being shared on Behind the Muscle podcast. So please make sure you share this episode specifically on your Instagram stories. And then finally, I will leave you all with this. Remember, behind the muscle, there's always a story. We'll catch you guys later.